Yeah. Felicia started me off, so I'm coming up here already an emotional wreck. So I'm sorry in advance. This is probably going to take a while. First, hi, I'm Sage Fortune. I just want to say it's a genuine honor to be recognized among these students who I know to be gifted and hardworking. And when I learned about the process that it takes to be selected to get this honor, I was really surprised and even more grateful. The opportunity to properly recognize the people who helped me get to this point was long overdue. Although the list of teachers and administrators who played a role in my survival is long, Mrs. May, Mrs. Holmes, and Ms. Healy stand out significantly. The most impactful quality that these three women have in common is compassion. Okay. Didn't take long. All right. In this day and age when the levels of anxiety and stress among adolescents is about the same of those of asylum patients 60 years ago, sensitivity goes a really, really long way. During the times when I was particularly stressed or anxious, these women not only recognized it, but also helped me to realize that it doesn't have to control me or hinder my success. The year that I moved up from 3rd to 4th grade, Mrs. May became the principal of Schubert Elementary School. The first day of my 4th grade school year, I was the first student to greet Mrs. May when she came into the building, because I was there super early. I don't know why. Maybe I was just really that excited. But I remember being struck by her calm and confident spirit and immediately knowing that I wanted to be like her. Okay. When our school's production of High School Musical began, I saw Mrs. May even more often. I auditioned to play my favorite character, Sharpay Evans. And knowing that Mrs. May was directing the musical, the fear of disappointing her made me work extra hard to prepare. I'm sorry. Told you. Okay. I went home and practiced singing and dancing to Bop to the Top, Sharpay's main song, consistently for days until the audition. I literally wore a blue sparkly dress like Sharpay for the audition, and now looking back, it seems like it was probably a bit much. After I got the role, Mrs. May was the person who kept me from driving myself and the rest of the cast crazy. I learned all my lines weeks in advance to ensure that I couldn't mess anything up. During all the practices, I probably drove Mrs. May crazy with all of my questions and anxious energy, but she was always there to reassure me, and she continued to build me up. All throughout my 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade years, I tried my best to make her proud of me. Having a role model. Sorry. Having a role model who represented everything that I want to be helped me so much. And from an early age, Mrs. May showed me what success looks like. Okay. All right. Okay, when middle school rolled around, life got a little tougher. Like many kids would agree, middle school was a difficult 3 years, full of change. Many of these changes were hard to experience, but Mrs. Holmes, my guidance counselor, helped me through them. Middle school was filled with drama in my case, bullies, and a lot of lost friendships. With all these events, I started suffering from chronic migraines. With everything I was going through, my trips to the guidance office became pretty frequent. Mrs. Holmes, throughout all 3 years, listened to me babble on about my preteen drama. Day in and day out, she watched me cry way too many times to count, and came to the nurse's office on numerous occasions when the nurses didn't know how to deal with me anymore. There were days when my migraines would get especially bad, and I was considering going home, but Mrs. Holmes, with her consistently positive energy, would always encourage me and insist that I could make it through the rest of the day. Looking back at all those times, I could only imagine how annoying I must have been. So I'm especially grateful that Mrs. Holmes never quit on me. Whenever I was having a bad day, Mrs. Holmes' office was like a safe haven, and I could always count on that. No matter how much of a basket case I was being, Mrs. Holmes always managed to make me believe that I had the capacity to not only survive adversity, but also thrive in spite of it. All right, we're almost there. Almost there. Okay. This is why I don't wear makeup. Of course, high school was more academically challenging than middle school. Now that I think about it, I must enjoy pain because no matter how aware I am of how stressed I was in the previous years, I always managed to jam my schedule with as many AP classes as possible. Art courses were also always part of my schedule as well. I was lucky enough to have Miss Healy, my birthday buddy, for my art classes for my freshman, sophomore, and junior years. With late nights of homework after coming home from my job, I would often come to art class exhausted and not exactly full of artistic inspiration. Whenever Miss Healy saw me in this condition, she would always, without fail, try to make me feel better, and even took the time to sit down and ask me exactly what was making me so stressed or upset. I've always admired how Miss Healy always seems to manage to maintain a smile and her upbeat attitude. Despite all the things that I know she has to take care of. Her will to stay positive is contagious, and I'm not sure if she knows the extent to which it has helped me. My day could be turning out to be absolutely horrific, but by the time I got to art class, Miss Healy always managed to lift my spirits enough to keep me from dropping out of school. She was always there to hear me vent about my teenage angst, and it gave me constant reassurance that I'm not complete trash, despite my nonstop self-deprecation. Miss Healy helped me to overcome my stress about school in general and simultaneously pushed me to become a better artist. All of these women have influenced me in such significant ways. They have taught me about the importance of perseverance, and especially the importance of compassion. The compassion that they showed for me made it clear how essential it is for me to be a compassionate person. I, and I'm sure other students that these women have influenced, are proof of how compassion can improve lives.